Hello, everyone. Different people and different countries express their disagreement with the policies of other people or other countries in the world differently. For example, to express its disagreement with Israel, China had removed Israel's name from its geographic maps. Whether or not you agree with Israel's actions, I would just like to point out that for some reason, this response of China's doesn't appear to be very consistent. Let me show you what I mean. The other big news item today across the sources, American, Ukrainian, European, is Russia's intensified bombing of civilian locations in Ukraine. The BBC article we see here indicated over 110. In multiple locations, the authorities ordered an evacuation of children. And it's an eerily familiar scene from many, many years ago, from the times of World War II, when a train pulls up and children are piled in, as many of them as possible, and shipped off somewhere away from danger. As of right now, this order stands for 31 towns along the front lines, but that number is likely to get bigger. So here's my question to China. Just today, Russia had struck over 100 of towns and villages in Ukraine without any legitimate military targets there. So when can we expect China to remove Russia's name from its maps? And I mean, this is not the first time. Just the attack on the village of Hroza 3 weeks ago should have been sufficient. But, still waiting. Another news item is heads of state, important people, prominent people saying dumb shit without thinking. In this case, the culprit is Italian Prime Minister, who was tricked by some Russian pranksters into thinking she was talking to a group of African diplomats. And in that conversation, she said that EU leaders were tired of the war in Ukraine. First of all, as I mentioned recently, I'd like to remind everybody to imagine how tired people of Ukraine must be of this war. My parents, my teachers, my classmates, people who still live there, people in those dozens of villages and towns that got the shit bombed out of them today, children getting shipped out of their homes, going somewhere alone without their parents. Imagine how tired they are of this bullshit. Especially with the rest of the world still referring to what is happening to them as a territorial conflict. So that's thing number one. Number two, sweetie, you are a head of state. You are one of the world leaders. Think before you open your goddamn mouth. It doesn't matter if you believe you're speaking to a group of African diplomats. You still should not say things that might potentially discredit you and your fellow leaders in the world stage. It doesn't matter whom you thought was on the other end of that line. That is of no importance. The important thing is, of course, Now, Russian media is running away with these remarks, blowing them sky high at every point, every social media, every channel, and portraying what she said as the dominant mood among the European leaders. Ask Poland, ask Romania, ask the Czech Republic, ask the Baltic states. Do they agree with that? Unlikely. And yet, here's this person who's supposed to be the head of state, who's supposed to measure every single word that comes out of her mouth, saying a thing like that and speaking for them. Ask them how they feel about that. I don't know when it so happened that world leaders stop thinking about what they say and taking responsibility for their words. I just hope this dangerous trend will stop.